You've probably heard this 100 times. Just meditate, it'll calm your anxiety. But what if I told you, for many people, meditation actually makes anxiety worse? Let me ask you something. Have you ever sat down to meditate, hoping to feel more relaxed, but instead, your thoughts went wild? Your heart raced, your chest tightened, and suddenly, it felt like you were trapped with your own mind? If so, you're not alone. In fact, this happens more often than most people admit. We live in a world where meditation is marketed like a magic pill. Just breathe, they say, focus on your breath, and everything will be fine. But here's the truth. Most popular meditation techniques were never designed to deal with modern anxiety, the kind that's fueled by constant pressure, self-criticism, and unrelenting thoughts. Take Sandy, a 55-year-old mom from Wisconsin. She downloaded a meditation app after her doctor recommended it for stress. The first session? Fine. By the third, she found herself more anxious after meditating than before. Why? Because every time she sat down, she became hyper-aware of everything that was wrong, her breathing, her racing thoughts, the silence. She told herself she must be doing it wrong. But the truth is, she wasn't. The method just wasn't meeting her where she was. You see, most modern meditation focuses on doing. Focus on the breath. Clear the mind. Stay present. But for someone with anxiety, this becomes another task. Another thing to get right. And when you can't get it right, the anxiety grows. That's the hidden trap. It's not you, it's the approach. If you've struggled with meditation, if it ever made you feel worse, you're not broken. You don't lack discipline. You just haven't been shown the kind of meditation that meets anxiety with compassion, not control. Picture a woman sitting on a cushion in a quiet room. Her hands are in her lap. She looks around, uneasy. The silence is loud. She takes a breath, but it doesn't help. Her brow furrows. She opens her eyes, sighs, and checks the time. She's not lazy, she's just human. And she needs a different kind of guidance. So, what's really going wrong here? Why does something as peaceful as meditation make so many of us feel more tense? To answer that, we need to explore why most meditation techniques actually fail us, and what they've been missing all along. Let's take a closer look in the next section. Why most meditation techniques fail you. Let's be honest, mindfulness doesn't always bring peace. Sometimes, it just makes you feel like you're failing at something else. We all want relief from anxiety. And when someone says, just meditate, just breathe, it sounds simple, almost too simple. But if you've tried and felt worse instead of better, you know something deeper is going on. So let's break it down clearly, with zero judgment. The common trap of modern meditation. Most mainstream meditation techniques fall into one of two categories. Focus techniques, where you fix your attention on one thing, like your breath or a mantra, and try to block out distractions. Mindfulness techniques, where you observe your thoughts non-judgmentally as they pass through. On paper, both sound helpful. But for people dealing with chronic anxiety, they can actually amplify the storm inside. Why? Because when you sit down with the intention to calm down, and it doesn't work, you blame yourself. You think, I can't even do this right. Here is a real-life story. John struggled to get it right. Let me tell you about John, a 58-year-old financial planner from Ohio. After a health scare, his doctor recommended meditation to lower his blood pressure. So, John downloaded a popular app. It walked him through square breathing, inhale, hold, exhale, hold, over and over. At first, it was interesting. But by the third day, something shifted. As he tried to follow the breath pattern, his heart would pound. He'd forget which count he was on. And then, here's the kicker, he'd feel like a failure. Instead of calming his nerves, he was fighting his own mind. Eventually, he gave up and thought, maybe this just isn't for me. But the truth is, John didn't fail at meditation. Meditation failed him. The science behind the struggle. Studies have shown that for people with trauma, perfectionism, or high-functioning anxiety, traditional mindfulness can trigger more distress, not less. Why? Because being still and quiet doesn't automatically equal peace. In fact, silence can be loud when the mind has never been taught how to be with itself. And here's the real kicker. Many modern approaches treat meditation like a productivity hack. Another app, another goal, another way to self-optimize. But anxiety doesn't heal when it's turned into a project. It heals when it's understood. The emotional cost of doing it right. Let's go back to that moment you've probably experienced. You're sitting on a cushion. The room is quiet. You're trying to follow the breath, just like the voice says. But your mind won't stop racing. You think about your to-do list. That weird thing you said yesterday. That ache in your back. Suddenly, you're not meditating, you're battling. And then comes the spiral. I can't even sit still. What's wrong with me? It's painful and unnecessary. Because meditation was never meant to be a performance. You're not doing it wrong, you've been taught the wrong way. The reason most meditation techniques fail anxious people isn't because they're flawed in theory. It's because they were designed for monks, not modern minds juggling jobs, families, and trauma. You don't need to force the mind to be still. You need to learn how to let it move, and observe it kindly. So if forcing the mind doesn't work, what does? There is a way to meet anxiety without fighting it. A method that's been quietly practiced for centuries in Zen tradition. It's not about fixing your thoughts. It's about seeing them clearly, and letting them pass like clouds across a wide, open sky. Let me show you how that works, in the next section. The Zen shift. Stop controlling. Start observing. Zen doesn't try to fix your thoughts, it teaches you to see them. And in that seeing, something quietly shifts. By now, you've probably realized something important. Trying to control anxiety doesn't calm it. It feeds it. That's why so many popular meditation techniques feel like a struggle. They're based on doing. Focus, redirect, breathe this way, think that way. But Zen offers something radically different. It invites you to do nothing. In Zen, there's a practice called shikantaza. It translates simply to just sitting. No mantra. No breath count. No trying to clear your mind. You just sit. You let the thoughts come. You let them go. You don't follow them. You don't push them away. You simply watch. Let me introduce you to Linda, a 63-year-old retired teacher from Oregon. After a lifetime of always being strong for everyone else, her students, her family, her husband, Linda found herself struggling with a kind of quiet, invisible panic. Every day felt like she was walking on edge, and every time she tried to meditate, she felt like a pressure cooker. She'd close her eyes, focus on her breath, and within seconds, 100 thoughts would flood in. What's for dinner? Did I say the wrong thing at lunch yesterday? What if the pain in my chest means something worse? She told her therapist, I feel like I'm trying to hold back a waterfall. That's when she was introduced to a Zen teacher who simply said, don't hold it back, watch it fall. The shift that changed everything. At first, Linda was confused. She thought meditation meant silencing the mind, not sitting in the middle of its noise. But the teacher explained, your mind isn't the enemy. It's just active, let it be. The watcher behind the thoughts, that's where peace lives. So Linda tried shikantaza. She sat in a chair. Eyes open, gently lowered. No breathing pattern, no goal. just noticing. One moment at a time. At first, it felt awkward. But slowly, something changed. She began to see her anxiety not as a failure, but as something she could witness without being swallowed by it. Imagine your mind as a pond. When you stir it, try to fix, fight, or focus, the mud rises. The water clouds. But when you stop stirring, when you just sit, the mud slowly settles. Clarity doesn't come from effort. It comes from non-resistance. Neuroscience backs this up. Practices like shikantaza activate the brain's default mode network, the part that helps you develop self-awareness without over-identifying with your thoughts. Over time, observing without reacting rewires how you respond to stress, shifting you from panic to presence. Peace isn't a destination, it's a perspective. The gift of Zen is that it doesn't promise to take your anxiety away. Instead, it shows you the part of yourself that's already calm, the part that can sit with discomfort without needing to fix it. Linda once thought she had to control her mind to feel okay. Now, she simply sits. And the sitting is enough. Just for 10 seconds. Don't change your breath. Don't judge your thoughts. Just notice them, like clouds passing through a wide sky. This is the beginning of Zen practice. Not effort, awareness. But even with this practice of just sitting, there's one more key to unlocking real transformation. Because not resisting is powerful. There's something even deeper. Learning to turn inward, to face the root of anxiety itself. Let's explore that next. The real Zen method that transforms anxiety. Zen doesn't try to eliminate anxiety. It shows you the one part of yourself that anxiety can't touch. So far, we've talked about how most meditation focuses on doing, and how Zen shifts that into simply being. But now we go one layer deeper. Because even just sitting can feel confusing at first, especially when the mind still throws up anxious thoughts, scary stories, or physical tension. What Zen teaches next is the turning point, the moment when practice stops being about technique and becomes about truth. There's a Zen phrase that's at the heart of this practice. Turn the light inward. What does that mean? It means shifting your attention from what you're feeling to what's aware of the feeling. Instead of focusing on the anxiety, you turn inward and ask, what part of me is noticing this? This shift, from being in the storm to noticing the storm, is what creates space. And in that space, suffering starts to dissolve. Let's talk about Ray. He's 52, a corporate VP from Dallas, and for years, he lived with what he called silent dread. On paper, everything looked good: big house, steady income, well-liked. But inside, he constantly felt like he was about to mess everything up. At night, he'd lie awake with a racing heart, imagining worst-case scenarios. One morning, during a work meeting, a wave of anxiety hit him so hard he thought he was going to pass out. He excused himself, locked himself in his office, and sat down, shaking. He didn't know what to do. He had tried all the tricks, the breathing, the positive affirmations, the distractions. But then he remembered something his Zen teacher once said. Stop fighting the feeling, ask who's watching. So for the first time, instead of fixing his anxiety, Ray turned toward it. He sat quietly. He felt the tightness in his chest. He noticed the fear. He didn't push it away. He simply asked, what part of me is seeing this? As he watched his anxiety, not reacting, not judging, something unexpected happened. The fear didn't vanish. But it softened. It loosened its grip. And behind the anxiety, he found a quiet presence. A space that wasn't panicked. That wasn't overwhelming. That was just aware. That's the essence of turning the light inward. You realize, you are not your fear. You are the one witnessing it. Imagine the sky. No matter how intense the storm, The sky itself is untouched. Clouds come, clouds go. But the sky, vast, open, steady, remains. In the same way, your thoughts and emotions are like the weather. But the awareness behind them? That's your inner sky. Zen helps you remember that. Neuroscientists call this meta-awareness. It's the ability to notice your thoughts without becoming them. When practiced consistently, this rewires your brain's relationship to stress, shifting from reactivity to resilience. You are not the storm, you are the space it moves through. When anxiety arises, you don't have to chase it away. You don't have to fix it. You just have to notice it, from that quiet center within. And the more you practice turning the light inward, the more you realize. Peace isn't the absence of fear. Peace is the presence of awareness. Try asking yourself right now, what part of me is aware of what I'm feeling? Don't answer with words. Just feel into the question. That simple shift is the beginning of transformation. Now, we've come to the heart of this journey. We've seen why most meditation doesn't work. We've felt the power of simply sitting. And we've discovered the wisdom of turning inward. But what does it all mean for your daily life? What happens when you start living from that inner awareness, instead of always chasing peace? Let's bring it all together in our final section. Anxiety isn't your enemy. It's a signal, asking to be met with presence, not control. So let's take a breath and pause for a moment. You've made it this far in the journey, not just through this video, but through years of carrying something heavy. Maybe without even knowing how heavy it truly was. And now, something's beginning to shift. Because here's the healing realization at the center of Zen. You were never broken. You were simply taught to fight what needed to be understood. Let's revisit the people we met. John tried so hard to follow the rules of meditation, but all it brought him was more pressure. Now, he just sits in stillness, allowing whatever arises to come and go. No rules, no judgment. Linda thought peace would come when she silenced her thoughts. But peace arrived the moment she stopped resisting them. Ray spent years trying to outrun the feeling of panic. Until the day he turned the light inward, and saw that behind the storm, something steady had always been waiting. What they all discovered, and what you can discover too, is that the real solution isn't to stop anxiety. It's to stop identifying with it. To realize, you're not the fear. You're not the voice in your head. You're the one who hears it, calmly, patiently, quietly. That part of you has never been anxious. It's just been covered up by noise. Zen doesn't fix you. It reveals you. You don't need to master a technique. You don't need to meditate for 30 minutes a day. You don't need to clear your mind. All you need is this. Sit. Breathe. Notice. And when anxiety shows up, welcome it, watch it. Let it teach you something. And trust that in the watching, something quiet, something wiser, awakens in you. If this resonated with you, if something inside you softened or stirred or felt seen, then keep going. This is just the beginning. In the next video, we'll go deeper into how Zen can transform not just anxiety, but your entire relationship with life. Watch next. This is why Zen changed my life forever. And if you feel called, share in the comments. What part of today's message felt most true for you? Let's walk this path together, one gentle step at a time.